Hello and welcome back to the Beast Mode Show. Today we're going to be focused on the E in Epic follow-up. Last episode we went over the entire overview, entire process of Epic. Today we're going to be diving a little bit deeper into engagement, a few of the different ways that you can think about engagement and what you can do to improve the actual result of it. So without further ado, want to make sure that you've watched all the prior episodes. A lot of the things that we're going to be building on are going to be building on things that we've talked about. I'll give a little recap, but make sure you click the button, go to the card, watch the entire playlist from start to finish. That way you can get the most out of today's episode. Now, without further ado, we're going to be diving deeper into the E, which is engagement inside of Epic Follow-up. For those of you who just need a quick recap, Epic is engagement, ping, inspire, and connect. So today, when we're talking about following up with people, I want you to think of follow-up from the moment the person makes a decision that they have a problem, that they're looking for a solution, or that they are looking at the services that can solve the problem that they have. So that means whether they're looking on social and seeing your ad or seeing your content on social, whether they're getting an email from you, a text message from you, whether they're coming, across your, walking across the hallway, or the sidewalk, whatever, in front of your shop, if you've got a physical shop, whatever the case may be, however they are actually getting their eyeballs on your content, engagement has to do with their state of mind, not so much the actual methodology that we are using to engage with them. So we're going to go through a couple of different things. Now, if as a quick recap, in one of the prior episodes, we talked about there are 4 different places that you can market to your audience. The first is online and paid. The next is offline and paid. The next is online and free. And the last one is online and paid. So when you're thinking about your marketing, I want you to think about what can you actually be doing to connect to your audience in a way that makes the most sense for them. Where are they actually hanging out? And when you can do that, then and only then will you be able to engage with your audience properly. So a few things that you can do to properly engage with your audience. Now, let's break this down to a couple of these. So the first and the most popular is going to be email marketing. Now, when we look at email marketing, there are a few different kinds of emails that you can be sending out, that you can be doing, and we want to make sure that it's broken down so that you're using the right kind of emails. Now, when it comes to email marketing, most people absolutely fail at this, and it's because they do it not wrong, but they're not doing it enough. And that's because whether it's, hey, I don't want to feel like I'm bugging them, or I don't want to feel like I'm spamming them, or hey, I'm out of things to say, or I just don't have the time to do it anymore, and I don't feel like I could hire somebody else to do it. No matter what the case is, you have to send emails consistently. Now, we learned a lot of our email marketing tactics and strategies over the years from the people that we interviewed through Funnel Magazine, and then the clients that we implemented our processes on, that we learned from the people we interviewed, and we were able to test over and over and over again. One of the key things is that you have to email 5 to 10 times each and every single week. You heard that right, 5 to 10 times each and every single week. And if you don't email out at least 5 to 10 times every single week, then you're going to stop seeing the results, or you're going to start seeing lesser results because of it. Now, I'm not saying just email for the sake of emailing. You have to have a reason to email, which is why we want to send out a variety of different emails types throughout the week. So one of the first, right, most common, everybody wants to do these, are sales and marketing type of emails. Hey, buy this thing, go, join this program, come get this other thing. And those are valuable for you. They help move your audience from am I interested, to, okay, let me go to the sales page, let me actually click, let me engage, let me do the things that I'm supposed to do so that I can maybe become a customer. But those are for you, not for them. Now, when they're on the sales page, they're reading the sales pages for them to determine if the program is a fit for them and if you are a fit for them. But the email, at its core, should be considered clickbait, should be considered as a, hey, my only goal in this email is to get you to click and go to the sales page so that you can then learn more about the program. So that's email type number one. Email type number two is newsletter style. Now, this is generally multiple things have been happening over the course of a week, over the course of a month, over the course of a day, even. And you're giving them kind of the brief overview of here's what happened, here's what happened, here's what happened, here's some things that you might want to know to stay apprised within the industry. Now, a lot of people use newsletters and they do them all wrong because they think that their audience cares. I see real estate agents do this, and they're probably one of the most notoriously bad at doing this, where they send a newsletter about the market and nobody cares about the market unless they're a real estate agent or they're a real estate investor. I can't say nobody. I would say a majority of the leads that come into, they don't care. They're there to buy or sell a house. They opted in at some point, and then they're like, okay, cool. I either didn't do it or I did, but either way, I don't need a newsletter about what's happening in the marketplace. Now, again, that's assuming you're talking to consumers. Now, if you're talking to the commercial or you're talking to investors, that's a whole different conversation. When you're thinking of a newsletter, it should be something that really is designed to give them news about things they care about, things that are of interest to them, right? So a newsletter for a real estate agent, as an example, a great newsletter for a real estate agent would be a newsletter about things that are happening in the community and reasons they would want to go attend those things, right? Maybe there's an event happening. Maybe, there's a shutdown at the school. Maybe there's, people are getting sick or whatever the case is, right? These are things that people would care about within the newsletter and want to know about the community. So build a community newsletter in that case, not a, hey, here's about the market. Now, again, that's all about your audience. So you have to really get to understand what is it that your audience wants and why should they care. Now, one other form of newsletter that can be really powerful, and this can be used across the board for everybody, is sending out, like if you write a blog article every single day, or even if you did one a week. So if you did it every day, you could send a weekly newsletter, and it basically gives a breakdown of all of the different articles that you wrote over the course of the week. Now, if you wrote one a week, maybe you send out a newsletter once a month and it's got the 4 or 5 articles that you wrote throughout the month. And that is another format of newsletter that, while as long as the blog content is relevant to them, may not feel like, oh, this person's just trying to sell me, or they're giving me information that is irrelevant to me. So that's number 2. And number 3, and this is by far one of the least utilized, is educational emails. Now, when we talk about educating, when it comes to any kind of marketing, I want to give a big disclaimer. So first of all, if you're educating in your marketplace, you have to understand that education does not turn into sales. So why would I tell you to educate in your emails? I want you to educate them on the symptoms and how to solve the symptoms so that they become aware of the bigger problems. I want you to give them tools and resources that help them understand that they have a problem that is much bigger than the symptom that they're currently experiencing. If you can solve one core thing for them, one little thing, that one helps them become aware of the bigger problem, and 2 shows them that you're there to add value, that you're there to give them the resources that they need, and that if they want to solve it, they can by ultimately hiring you or purchasing your programs, products, and services. And that right there is why we educate. It adds value, it builds trust, but at the same time, we're not doing it in such a way that we're giving everything away. First of all, if you gave everything away, you probably overwhelm the reader in the first place and they just bounce. And second, if you give them everything, then they will not want to continue on. So The next level or the next part of engagement is social engagement. Social media, that could be on Facebook, Instagram, stories, reels, lives, how-to videos like this one, social, X social or threads, Pinterest, LinkedIn. All social is the same. Now, so when we're looking at engagement, we want them to, number one, comment. That is the number one thing that you want anyone and everybody to do. I don't care what the social platform is, commenting is key. The next, of course, is a core action that you want them to do is follow, subscribe, get the bell icon like you can here on YouTube or if you're watching on different platforms, right? Whatever that version is. And then the next is the reaction, so liking kind of thing. And then finally is just a view, a face, an impression, right? Somebody just watching it, they don't do anything, nothing at all, right? That is still a form of engagement. When you're looking at social media, how can you drive traffic to get them to do the next little micro action? So one key thing, let's take a look at Facebook and Instagram as an example. When it comes to video, it's really just how do you keep them engaged, keep watching the next, and then finally, ideally taking some sort of action after that. So with Facebook and Instagram, X social platforms like that, what can you do to add value, right? So the first thing, let's look at Facebook, right? At the top of a Facebook post, you have like a little tiny bit, a snippet of content, and then there's the see more, right? And then you click the see more, and then it's got the rest of the content, and then at the end of that, you might have you might have the image there or a link, whatnot, but you've got the snippet of content, the see more, and then the rest of the content. So that first snippet of content has to get them to want to click the see more. That is a point of engagement. Once they finish reading that, what's the call to action that you want them to take? I highly recommend, especially on Facebook and Instagram, even X and Pinterest, LinkedIn, all those platforms, anything that you have like a static image, you want them to comment is the number one thing. You can also do this with lives, reels, shorts, all that kind of stuff as well. Get them to comment because that is one of the best calls to action. It creates engagement. Now, this is not a piece of content that's designed to convert them into going to a sales page. This is the type of content that's designed to convert them into a follower, into an engager, into somebody who's interested and excited and wants to work with you further. So making sure that the content then goes and says, hey, comment on blank to get my resource on this, or let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, or let me know, do you like A or B, right? Things like that help create engagement on all of these platforms. The next is a forum blog type platform where you have people who are bringing together and putting content in they're putting content together, and you're then there contributing to that content. This should all be fairly original content, right? So you have your own blog, but you can also guest blog. If you're posting on forums, maybe you're adding value by sharing some key tips and strategies that are important for that forum. By the way, a Facebook group and LinkedIn groups are also considered a forum. They're just platform-specific forums. So all that type of content is really powerful. The next are podcasts and vidcasts. Something, vidcast could be something like this. Podcasts, right? Anything on Apple, YouTube, Apple, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Pandora Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all that stuff, where that content is verbal, they can listen to it on the go. And how do they engage with that content? Number one is the download. The next is going into the comments or into the snippets of, hey, here's the show notes, and they can click on the links. They can, engage with the content that way. Leaving a review, things like that are great ways for them to engage. Ads are really key. And I don't care what platform the ads are on. Now, obviously, certain platforms have different things that they can or can't do. But most of the social platforms, they can actually engage with the content of your ad just like it would be a standard post. Now, it comes to like Google ads and display ads, obviously the only option for them to engage is to actually click. The next are influencers. Influencers are really key here because you can have other people doing what would be equivalent of a shout out and then getting people to engage and come to your page or your profile and learn more about you, your business. And I don't recommend that you have people go directly to your sales page. I recommend they go to your social profile with a shout out. And the reason for that is we're looking at engagement first. How do we get them into your world so that way you can follow up with them through retargeting, through all the other components, right? Personalizing ping, inspiring, and ultimately getting them to connect. And you'll get far more engagement, far more followers by asking an influencer to shout you out and tell them to follow you instead of telling them to go buy your product. Now, there are reasons to do the latter of, hey, just have the influencer tell them to go buy the product. And there's a completely different strategy for that. But from an engagement perspective, we want to focus on getting people to come and follow you. And then the last one that I want to talk about today is AI chatbots. And this is a newer thing, right? This also goes to like messenger bots, things like that. Doesn't have to be AI, but AI is obviously more prevalent today. So any kind of bot that somebody can come in and engage, and they're not getting obviously the personalized attention. They're not meeting with a human. They're not having that conversation, but it's a guided path that then helps quickly move them to the next stage in this process. Now, I'd love to hear what other ways that you guys can think of engaging. So drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you guys have come up with for ways to engage. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your ideas, and we'll have a quick discussion about that in the comments. Until next time, we'll see you on the next video. Have a blessed day.